Jason Walker was the man who had it all. A beautiful family, a well-paying job, respect in his community. But in July of 2022, he made a choice, a selfish one. He left his wife of 14 years for a woman nearly half her age. And just 6 months later, Jason was gone. And the woman he ran away with? She vanished too. A brutal battle for power, revenge, and justice unfolds. These aren't just stories, they're real lives, torn apart by secrets. We dive deep into chilling disappearances, unsolved crimes, and the truths buried beneath the surface. Because in the world of true crime, nothing is ever as it seems. And the ending? It will stay with you. Subscribe, share, and join us as we unravel every hidden clue. This isn't a love story. This is a story about revenge, and how sometimes what you run to is far more dangerous than what you run from. Jason Walker met Amanda Hayes in the least scandalous place imaginable, a downtown coffee shop. She was 24, bright, attractive, a barista with ambitions of becoming a fashion designer. Jason was 41, regional sales director for a real estate tech company, married to Danielle Walker, 2 children, a golden retriever, a picture-perfect life. But Amanda offered something Jason hadn't felt in years: attention. Within weeks, texts turned into hotel rooms. Within 2 months, Jason had moved out. By November, he filed for divorce, leaving Danielle stunned and humiliated. Friends turned cold. His parents were furious, his kids distant, but Jason didn't care. He bought Amanda a condo in Midtown, took her on a trip to Tulum, posted pictures online, her in bikinis, him smiling like he hadn't in years. Danielle didn't say much. Not to her friends, not to the court, not even to Jason. But according to her neighbor, she started keeping notes. Jason's life with Amanda wasn't perfect, but it was fun. She was spontaneous, wild, unpredictable. But by January, Amanda started getting paranoid. She'd wake up from nightmares, refuse to go out, swear someone was watching them. Jason thought it was stress, or maybe trauma from her past. But Amanda never talked about her past. No childhood stories, no exes, no old friends. Her social media had only 2 years' worth of photos. When Jason asked, she'd say, "That life's over. I started fresh, like we are." But someone else hadn't forgotten Amanda Hayes, and they were watching. On February 9th, Jason returned home to find the front door open. Amanda was sitting on the floor, pale, shaking. A message was carved into their wooden kitchen table: "Thieves pay." Police were called. There was no sign of forced entry, no fingerprints, no footage. Amanda refused to talk to officers. Jason changed the locks, added cameras, but Amanda wouldn't sleep. She stopped going out. She wouldn't eat. She started drinking heavily. Jason began to wonder if he'd made a mistake. What Jason didn't know was this: Danielle had hired a private investigator, not to win him back, not to hurt him. She said she just needed answers. But the investigator, Grace Lawton, was good. She found Amanda's real name, Savannah Ray Klein. Amanda Hayes was an alias. Savannah had changed it 2 years prior after fleeing a multi-state embezzlement case involving a high-end escort ring. Danielle now had proof that Jason's new girlfriend had stolen money from wealthy clients, one of whom disappeared shortly before the scandal broke. She printed the file and waited. Amanda's real trouble started when someone slipped a manila envelope under their condo door. Inside, a photo of Savannah Amanda from her escort days. A list of names. One name was circled in red: Malcolm Price. Jason asked who that was. Amanda froze, then lied, said he was just a client. But Jason wasn't stupid. He Googled the name: Malcolm Price, tech mogul. Disappeared in 2020, presumed dead. Last seen entering a penthouse hotel in Miami. The same weekend, Savannah Ray Klein was registered under a fake name. Jason confronted Amanda. She broke down, said Malcolm had abused her, that she ran because she feared for her life. But Jason saw something else in her eyes, something dark. On March 17th, Jason didn't show up for work. Calls went to voicemail. Amanda's phone was off. Police performed a wellness check. The condo was empty. No blood, no signs of struggle. Just one chilling thing: the kitchen table was missing, the one that once had "Thieves Pay" carved into it. Jason's car was found 3 days later, abandoned at a remote trailhead, 60 miles away. Inside were Amanda's clothes, her phone, Jason's watch, but no trace of either of them. Danielle didn't weep, not at first. When police questioned her, she said little. She showed them the file her investigator had compiled, told them about Amanda's real name, told them she had warned Jason weeks earlier. But privately, she said something different to Grace, the PI. "I knew it would end this way." He picked her over us. "Let him live with it." Grace asked her what she meant. Danielle didn't answer, just stared at the table in her living room. A new one, but with something familiar carved into the surface. Thieves pay. Detective Liam Monroe took over the missing persons case. He had a theory that Amanda, Savannah, had finally been found by whoever she crossed years ago, that Jason was collateral damage. But when he dug deeper into Danielle Walker, a curious pattern emerged. The PI she hired was once a federal financial crimes agent. Danielle had quietly sold her engagement ring, then paid $15,000 in cash to someone unnamed. GPS data showed Danielle had driven 60 miles west the night before Jason disappeared, to the same trailhead where Jason's car was found. Was it grief, closure, or something more? A week later, Danielle received a message. No name, no return address, just a video. She clicked play. Jason, tied to a chair, silent, alive. Amanda stood beside him, face bruised, shaking. She whispered, "This wasn't supposed to happen. They found us. Tell Danielle. Tell her I'm sorry." Then the screen went black. Police traced the IP. It bounced through 11 countries. No origin found. But someone posted a still from the video on a dark web forum hours later, captioned only, "Debt repaid, one remains." Jason's betrayal started a chain reaction, but Amanda's past may have written their ending long before he ever walked out the door. Danielle said she warned him, but what she never told police was that she had met Amanda once, face to face, and in that short, silent meeting, something was exchanged. Jason Walker left his wife for a younger woman named Amanda Hayes, but Amanda was hiding something. Her real name was Savannah Ray Klein, fugitive, embezzler, and prime suspect in the disappearance of a tech mogul. Jason disappeared 6 months later. Amanda, too. The only trace? A disturbing video. Jason tied to a chair, Amanda beside him whispering, "They found us. Tell Danielle. I'm sorry." But what no one knew then was that Danielle, the wife Jason betrayed, had already met Amanda, face to face, and she wasn't telling the full story. 6 weeks before Jason vanished, Danielle Walker arranged a meeting. A private investigator tracked Amanda's real identity. But Danielle didn't go to the police. Instead, she went to Amanda directly. In a quiet cafe, 2 women sat across from each other. Amanda wore sunglasses, a hoodie. Nervous, Danielle brought a small envelope. Inside, copies of court filings, aliases, and a photo of Malcolm Price circled in red. She slid it across the table. "Danielle, you know how this ends." Amanda's hands trembled. She looked Danielle in the eye. "Amanda, it already ended once. I started over. He chose me." Danielle stood up, calm, cold. "Danielle, and now? I choose how this story ends." That was the last time they spoke. Or so Danielle claimed. Detective Liam Monroe had a lead. The dark web forum where Jason's video was posted had an active cryptocurrency wallet attached to the uploader. It had received a deposit, exactly $15,000, in Monero, 2 days before the video went live. The same amount Danielle withdrew in cash from her account 2 weeks earlier. She told the bank it was to pay off old medical debt. The timeline was too neat, too exact. Detective Monroe brought Danielle in for questioning. "Monroe, you ever met Amanda Hayes?" Danielle, "Once, to warn her. I wanted my husband to see what he'd done." "Monroe, you hired a federal-level investigator, paid $15,000 in cash, and drove to the same trailhead Jason's car was found. That's not just warning." Danielle leaned forward. "Danielle, Detective, if I'd wanted him dead, he would be." Amanda Savannah was part of a luxury escort network that catered to elites. What few knew, the ring doubled as a blackmail operation. Clients weren't just paying for pleasure, they were being recorded, extorted. Malcolm Price, the tech mogul who disappeared, was rumored to be one of those clients. His disappearance was never solved. But 2 things stood out. His final GPS ping placed him at a private villa, rented, under a name tied to Amanda's former alias. His crypto account, valued at over $3.2 million, was emptied. 2 days after his last known sighting, Amanda had secrets, and someone wanted them buried. Jason Walker may have gotten too close. When police searched Jason's condo again, they missed something. But Grace Lawton, the PI Danielle hired, didn't. She returned to the apartment weeks later, scanned the living room, pulled off a baseboard panel behind the TV. Inside was a hidden micro camera, still powered. The memory card had one file, a silent video. Jason and Amanda arguing, Amanda slapping him, Jason shoving her back. Then Amanda picking up her phone and saying, "I'll do it. Tell him the money's his. Just get me out." Jason turns alarmed. "Jason, who the hell are you talking to?" Amanda looks terrified. The footage ends. New evidence showed Amanda made a call to a burner phone an hour before Jason vanished. The number was traced to Las Cruces, New Mexico, a known safe house location, tied to ex-cartel enforcers turned freelance operatives. A former associate of the escort ring, now in witness protection, confirmed something chilling. If Savannah ran, they'd send someone. She knew too much, stole too much. Anyone with her, collateral. Danielle didn't just uncover Amanda's secrets. She activated them. April 7th, a hiker in Black Ridge Canyon reported a screaming woman, covered in blood, stumbling through the forest. When rangers arrived, the woman was gone, but a torn shirt was recovered. DNA matched Amanda Hayes. No trace of Jason. No prints, no blood trail. Just her shirt. And beneath it, in the dirt, a burned corner of a photo, Jason holding Amanda at a beach resort. The same trip they'd flaunted after the divorce. On the back, one word in faded marker, liar. 2 weeks later, Danielle Walker was spotted at a storage facility. Grace Lawton followed from a distance. Danielle removed a metal lockbox, placed it in her car. When she returned home, she sat for hours alone. No lights, no TV, just silence. The next morning, Grace found a note under her apartment door. No signature, just handwriting. It said, "I gave them everything, but they want more. I told you he'd regret it. I didn't say I'd be spared." Attached to it, a USB drive, password protected, one file, locked tight. Grace tried every password Danielle had ever used. None worked, except one. The name of Jason and Danielle's dog, Milo. The file opened. Inside, photos, emails, GPS logs, and a short video. Jason bound again, this time bleeding. Amanda whispering. They said this would be quick, but they lied. "Danielle, please, call it off, please." Then a voice off screen, male, calm. "Too late for that." Danielle had the power to stop what happened, but she didn't. She knew what Amanda had done. She knew what Jason had chosen. She may not have pulled the trigger, but did she load the gun? As for Jason Walker, some say he's already dead. Others believe he's still out there, kept alive for leverage. But the real question now is, who was behind the camera? And why did Amanda whisper Danielle's name in her final breath? A dark web video surfaced, showing Jason tied up. Amanda begged for Danielle's forgiveness. Danielle said she had nothing to do with it. But a secret meeting, a $15,000 cash withdrawal, and GPS logs told a different story. And now a USB drive, sent by Danielle herself, contained disturbing evidence, including a video where Jason's captor said, "Too late for that." Voice analysis on the USB footage led nowhere. The man off camera didn't speak again. But Grace Lawton, the former Fed-turned-PI, did something police hadn't. She ran the voice clip through a private Israeli algorithm trained on darknet call leaks. One match came back. Julian Cross, former CIA, went rogue in 2016, believed to work as a cleaner for offshore intelligence, clients and compromised tech executives. Last known associate, Malcolm Price. Yes, that Malcolm Price, Amanda's former client, the tech mogul who vanished. Grace made a call, but Julian Cross didn't answer. Someone else did, a digital voice. "You're not ready for what you're digging into. Tell Danielle she broke the deal." Grace froze. "What deal?" Danielle never said anything about a deal. Detective Monroe received an anonymous envelope on his desk. No fingerprints, no return address. Inside, one thing, a black and white still photo. Jason in what looked like an underground room. Still alive. There was a number etched into the bottom corner, 13575. It wasn't a date. Grace recognized it. A cipher key. Military grade. She cracked it. The numbers corresponded to GPS coordinates. A small island off the coast of Belize. Known as a ghost zone. No internet, no power grid, and no official name. The only structure on the satellite map, a villa, registered to a shell corporation, linked to a now-defunct foundation once chaired by Malcolm Price. Grace confronted Danielle. "Grace, you told me everything, but you left something out. What deal did you make?" Danielle didn't speak at first, then. Danielle. They offered me a choice. I could expose Amanda, or I could let them take her back quietly. In return, Jason would be left alone. Grace. You made that choice after confronting Amanda? Danielle. No, I made it before. I set the whole thing in motion. But Amanda panicked. She didn't run like they expected. She fought. That's when they changed the deal. Grace. And Jason? Danielle looked away. Danielle. He wasn't supposed to be with her that night. Interpol refused to authorize a search. No warrant, no jurisdiction. But Grace knew someone who could get there, unofficially. A freelance journalist and drone operator, Luca Bellerin, agreed to help. Within 48 hours, he flew a long-range drone over the island. Footage showed armed guards, a communications tower, and 3 figures near the back villa entrance. One was unmistakably Amanda. Her hair was shorter. She was limping. She looked right at the drone and smiled. Grace rewatched the footage. Amanda's smile wasn't fear. It was recognition. She knew they were watching. But more importantly, she wanted to be seen. Grace slowed the footage. Amanda moved her fingers behind her back in a rhythmic motion. It was Morse code. DEAL-OFF. Amanda was sending a message. Someone broke the agreement. Now, there would be consequences. Danielle's divorce lawyer, a woman named Meredith Slane, had been quiet throughout everything. But Grace dug into her emails. One encrypted message, weeks old, had metadata that pinged back to a Belizean server. The content was short, one line. If he chooses her, we choose pain. If she resists, we erase. Grace asked Danielle, who else knew about Amanda's real identity before Jason disappeared. Danielle paused, then whispered, Meredith. She said she had connections to help me protect the kids. She told me she knew people who cleaned up. Grace realized something. This wasn't just a revenge story. It was a system. A web of quiet enforcers who managed secrets for the wealthy. And once Amanda broke rank, everyone she touched became a target. Then came the moment no one expected. A voicemail, left on Danielle's private phone at 2:14 a.m. It was distorted, but real. Jason's voice. Danny, I'm alive. Don't trust Grace, they're using her too. This goes deeper than Amanda. I never meant for this. Then static. Then a new voice, chillingly calm. We warned you. Grace analyzed the message origin. It came from a U.S. military satellite frequency, which meant someone very powerful was piggybacking signal paths meant for classified operations. This wasn't just private revenge anymore. This was controlled exposure. Grace set a trap. She leaked fake GPS data through a secure channel she knew was compromised, pointing to a live rescue op of Jason near the Mexico-Belize border. She waited. Within 12 hours, her office was ransacked. Laptops gone. Footage erased. Except one thing survived, the drone backup on a hidden SD card. She reviewed it one more time. In the far corner of the villa, a second prisoner, face not clear, but clothing matched Jason's missing persons outfit from the night he vanished. Still alive, still held. Grace made one final call to Danielle. Grace, you started this. Danielle, no, Amanda did. Grace, no, Amanda ran. You pointed them to her. Now Jason's paying for your silence. Danielle hung up. That night she disappeared too. Jason Walker left the safety of routine for the thrill of the unknown. Amanda Hayes escaped a nightmare and walked into a deeper one. Danielle thought she could control the consequences of betrayal. But now, she's missing. Jason is still captive, and Amanda's fate lies in a villa no one dares touch. But someone's about to crack the entire operation wide open. Because Grace has one last card left. And it's not who you think. 3 days after Danielle vanished, Grace received a package. No return address, no postage. It was sitting on her kitchen counter when she got home. Inside, a burner phone and a flash drive. The phone rang 5 seconds later. A male voice, digitally masked. She's alive. But the rules have changed. You want to see her again? Stop digging. Grace didn't stop. She opened the flash drive. Inside, security footage. Amanda, looking weak, pale, bruised, staring into the camera. Amanda softly. They're not who you think they are. They work for the ones in plain sight. Politicians, CEOs. They call it the quiet circuit. I wasn't supposed to talk, but Jason begged them to spare me, so they took him instead. She starts to cry. The screen goes black. Then a text message appears. Grace, don't make his mistake. Grace had heard the phrase once before, years ago, during a case involving a whistleblower who died in a supposed suicide before testifying against a federal defense contractor. The quiet circuit was rumored to be a decentralized operation used by elite interests to erase liability. People disappeared, stories were rewritten, secrets died with no witnesses. Grace finally realized this wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about containment. Amanda tried to run from them. Jason followed her into the dark. Danielle? She was the one who accidentally exposed the edge of the network. And now? They were all vanishing. Grace reached out to a contact inside Interpol. Someone who owed her. He sent over a decrypted message pulled from a seized satellite burst. It contained a voice memo. Jason's voice, tired, hoarse, panicked. If you're hearing this, they haven't killed me yet. Danielle, if you get this... You were right. She was lying, but not about everything. They made her do things, and I... He pauses, breathing heavy. They don't let people go. Not even the cleaners. I think I saw Malcolm. He's not dead. Grace, they're using your name. You're next. The message ends. Grace went underground. She stayed off-grid for 72 hours. Then she met someone in an abandoned motel outside Tucson. A man in his late 50s, burn scars on his hands, mismatched eyes. He called himself Rook. He claimed he once worked inside the quiet circuit, and he wanted out. Rook. They don't kill for money. They kill to maintain the world as it is. Savannah, Amanda, she stole data. Not from clients, from their handlers. Stuff that could bury names. Grace. Why is Jason still alive? Then said just one word. Waiting. Rook gave Grace a location. A private vault in a shell bank in Zurich. Grace flew in under an alias. The safety deposit box was registered under the name Marla Kay, Danielle's late grandmother. Inside, a metal case, a note, and an encrypted phone. The note read, "You were always the one who could finish what others started. If I disappear, don't stop, but don't trust anyone, especially not the woman with the badge." The phone unlocked to one file. Footage. Jason and Amanda on a rooftop arguing. Jason saying, "We can't use this. They'll kill us both." Amanda replying, "If we don't, they'll come for her too." Danielle helped me encrypt it. It's our only chance. The camera panned slightly, and there, just out of frame, was a third figure. A woman, holding a gun. It was Danielle. Interpol intercepted a body floating off the coast of Honduras. Female, burned, no fingerprints. They ruled it Amanda Hayes. Case closed, but Grace had doubts. The dental records didn't match. Amanda's tattoos were missing. And the coroner who signed the report? Worked for a clinic tied to Malcolm Price's offshore foundations. Grace knew what it meant. Amanda wasn't dead. She was erased. Like Malcolm, like Danielle. Jason, possibly next. Unless someone forced the system into the light. Grace received a final message from an unknown account. They've crossed a line. You'll get one shot, use it. Attached, a location. An abandoned airstrip in Louisiana. And a live GPS ping. It was moving. Not fast, but steady. Grace tracked it. It stopped at 3:47 a.m. She drove for 9 hours. When she arrived, the airstrip was empty, except for one thing. A locked black SUV. In the back seat, handcuffed. Beaten was Jason Walker, barely conscious. Alive. Taped to his chest, a burner phone with a message set to autoplay. Grace hit play. Amanda's voice. "You found him. Good, now run." Because they know you're close, and what's coming next makes all of this look like mercy. Jason Walker was saved, but the real war has just begun. Danielle's alive. Amanda is in hiding. Malcolm Price might not be dead. And Grace? She just became target number one because she knows the name, the file, the truth, a global blackmail ring, ties to vanished CEOs, connections to what insiders call the quiet circuit. Danielle, Jason's ex-wife, helped Amanda once, and then she disappeared too. Jason was found, barely alive, but not free, because what Amanda stole, what Danielle helped hide, is about to bring the whole system down. And now Grace Lawton, the private investigator chasing their trail, is next on the list. Jason couldn't walk when Grace found him, but he could talk. And the first thing he asked was, "Did they find the box?" Grace didn't know what he meant. Jason reached inside his coat. Hidden in the lining, he pulled out a torn photograph. It showed Amanda as a teenager. Beside her, a man, his face familiar. Grace froze. It was Senator Alden Cross, chair of the Federal Data Oversight Committee. Powerful, untouchable, and now directly linked to Amanda's past. On the back of the photo, a handwritten code. Jason whispered. That's what she was running from. That's what they killed to protect. Grace decoded the string. It unlocked a hidden folder buried in Amanda's encrypted drive. Inside, the orphan file, a classified government document listing unauthorized surveillance, contracts, names of high-ranking officials who paid for digital blackmail to control competitors, activists, and whistleblowers. Amanda's name was in there. So was Danielle's. Even Jason's former law firm had a client. But at the top of the list, Malcolm Price, and the signature beneath his name, Alden Cross. The senator wasn't just complicit. He was the architect. Grace tried to leak the orphan file anonymously. Every journalist she contacted stopped responding. Her email accounts were locked. Her phone glitched. She received a new message. One more attempt and your address goes public. Jason was moved to a secure location, but not before he said, Amanda said, if this ever happened, go to the oldest cathedral in New Orleans and wait until the bells stop. Grace arrived at St. Armand Cathedral at dusk. At 6 p.m., the bells rang. Then silence. A child approached her, no older than 8. Holding a folded note, Grace unfolded it. One line. The ghost lives under Lazarus. She knew what it meant. Lazarus wasn't a person. It was a project. A now-defunct AI surveillance program, run by Alden Cross's office in 2014, supposedly shut down after a whistleblower accidentally drowned. Amanda once told Danielle, everyone thinks the program died, but ghosts don't die. They just go quiet. Grace traced Lazarus. The core code was stored on a private server hosted in Iceland. She contacted a gray hat hacker named Knox, a former NSA coder turned rogue. Knox agreed to help for a price. When he broke in, what he found chilled them both. Lazarus wasn't dead. It had evolved. Now rebranded as Black Echo, it had been quietly absorbing metadata across U.S. financial institutions, private messaging apps, and medical databases. Not just watching, predicting, controlling, and someone had been feeding it names. Amanda's, Danielle's, Jason's, Grace's, one by one added to the containment list. There were 184 names on the containment list. A journalist, a judge, 2 tech founders. Half were dead, the rest missing. And 2 more names had just been added. Knox, Grace Lawton. Then the screen went black, and a video auto-played. Amanda, alive, but not where Grace expected. If you're watching this, they know where you are. The Lazarus AI is no longer in control. Someone hijacked it. Someone in the government. Someone who wants Black Echo to become the new law. Grace, this wasn't just about revenge. It was about rewriting power. She looks directly into the lens. You have to decide, burn it all, or disappear. Jason was moved again, but this time not by Grace. By a protection team claiming federal authority. No badge, no names. Grace followed the transport vehicle 200 miles. At a rural warehouse, it stopped. She watched them unload Jason, barely conscious, into a building with no signage. Then Grace's car was hit from behind. Her phone buzzed. A final message. You were warned. The SUV behind her didn't stop. A man approached with a silenced pistol. Just as he raised it, a second car screeched onto the gravel. Shots fired. The man fell. Grace opened the second car door. Danielle was behind the wheel. Danielle, breathless. Get in, we don't have time. They're inside too. Amanda ran to survive. Danielle ran to protect. Jason tried to walk away. Now they're all trapped in the system they tried to expose. Lazarus has awakened. Black Echo is spreading. And someone inside the government wants it to replace justice itself. But Grace and Danielle are about to make one last move. One that could either save them all or bury them forever. Now Jason has been kidnapped twice. Amanda is on the run, and the digital surveillance program, Lazarus reborn as Black Echo, has become a weapon of power and silence. Private investigator Grace Lawton was warned to walk away. She didn't. Now she's in a moving car, racing from federal assassins, driven by the one person she never expected to save her. Danielle. Grace kept one hand on the dashboard and one on her sidearm. Danielle sped down a back road, eyes fixed ahead. Grace. Why now? You've been off the grid for weeks. Danielle. Because they weren't supposed to move this fast. Jason wasn't supposed to talk. And Amanda, she did something reckless. Grace leaned in. What? Danielle didn't answer. She handed Grace a flash drive. On it, footage of a private server room. Amanda mid-recording. Amanda. The files are live, downloaded to 4 fail-safe nodes. If I die, they go public. Grace Lawton and Danielle Walker are the only people with decryption authority. You want to silence us? You'll have to silence half the country when it sees the truth. Danielle brought Grace to a storage warehouse in Missouri. She led her through a hidden entrance to a forgotten fallout shelter, converted into a digital node. One of Amanda's 4 safe servers was inside. Grace plugged in the drive. What it contained was worse than anyone imagined. Names, payments, recorded calls, live screen captures from political offices and courtrooms. The Black Echo AI had not just predicted crimes. It had influenced decisions. Certain judges were shown being fed pre-written sentences through legal guidance AI overlays. Senators were getting opinion briefings generated by Lazarus, seeded with content to sway votes. Amanda hadn't just stolen files, she had stolen the truth. Danielle received a silent ping on her burner. A location. Jason was being held in Redwater, a private compound built by a defense contractor outside Dallas. On the surface, it was a rehab center. In truth, it was where containment subjects were reprogrammed. Grace had heard whispers about Redwater. No one left it the same? Some didn't leave at all. Grace and Danielle disguised themselves as medtechs and slipped inside using forged IDs. The compound was heavily guarded. In the surveillance wing, they found Jason, strapped to a chair, electrodes on his skull. A voice spoke through an intercom. He's being reconditioned. His memories reshaped, his guilt erased. He asked too many questions. Now he'll forget why. Grace drew her gun. Danielle smashed the camera. They cut Jason loose. He stared at them, groggy, confused. Jason, weak. Why am I here? Grace. Because they want you to forget everything. But you're not done yet. They dragged him out through a side corridor. But standing in their way, Malcolm Price, alive. Malcolm Price looked older, thinner, pale, but very much alive, and smiling. Malcolm. Danielle, Grace, you've come a long way. Danielle raised her weapon. Danielle, I watched you burn. Malcolm, you watched what we let you see. Black Echo needs control. It needs silence, and you two have become too loud. He snapped his fingers. Guards closed in. Grace fired first. Danielle took 2 down. Jason crawled for cover. A firefight erupted inside Redwater. Then silence. When it ended, Malcolm was gone again, and a new message flashed across Grace's phone. Node 2 compromised. Amanda's signal is dark. They escaped with Jason, but now only 2 of the original 4 nodes were still active. Amanda had been using them as leverage. Now someone was hunting them down, and Amanda herself was either dead or in hiding so deep even her signal couldn't reach Grace anymore. Danielle said the only way to end this now was to go public. But Jason knew the truth. Jason, you won't survive it. These people don't just kill bodies. They kill legacies, identities. They'll erase everything you are before your story even starts. Grace, then we beat them to it. Danielle had a plan. Broadcast the orphan file live. Leak it to every major outlet simultaneously using Amanda's remaining 2 nodes. Grace reached out to Knox again. He was hesitant, but agreed to build the kill switch and schedule the sync. Grace made the call. They would go live in 72 hours. But then, Jason screamed. They rushed into his room. His laptop had been remotely activated. A voice filled the speakers. Amanda's. But it was a recording. Amanda recorded. If you're seeing this, it means I didn't make it. But they haven't won yet. The final node is in plain sight. You've seen it before. Look at the photograph. You missed something. Jason looked at the old photo, the one of Amanda and Senator Alden Cross. Something in the background. A painting. A building. Danielle leaned in, eyes wide. Danielle, that's the Cross Institute. In D.C., that's where it's hidden. Grace whispered. Then we finish this in D.C. Amanda's gone. Jason's half a man. Danielle's hunted by the people she once tried to protect. And Grace? She's racing toward the capital, with secrets powerful, enough to destroy governments. But someone is already waiting inside the Cross Institute, and not everyone on their side will make it out alive. If you believe in uncovering the truth and standing for justice, we'd love your support. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your voice matters, and you help make this community stronger. We'll be back with another case, right here on Unraveled Crime.